Okie dokie. Alright, yesterday, circumference of circles, we had two different formulas. Okay, two different formulas, circle T. Today, when we find area, how many formulas are right there?
One.
There's one. Okay,
Okay.
so there is only one formula to use to calculate the area of circles, and the formula is
Area equals pi r squared.
area equals pi r squared. Three things that you will do incorrectly. If you will remember not to do these three things, you'll be fine. The first thing is radius. You can only use the radius. You cannot use your diameter. If you're given the diameter, you have to divide it by 2 to get your radius, just like they talked about in vocabulary. Okay? So, thing number one, these are common mistakes and have been for the last 13 years since I've been teaching math. The first thing that y'all like to do is you cannot use diameter. Okay, you cannot use diameter. You have to have radius. The formula says radius. This is like our recipe. If our recipe calls for eggs and we don't put eggs in it, we aren't going to get out what we thought we were going to get out. Okay? If we don't put our radius number in here, we are not going to get the right answer. All right? Okay, the second mistake that you all like to make is when you have the radius squared, you are not multiplying by 2. You multiply that number by itself. So do
It's an exponent.
not multiply by 2. And we'll talk about what you're going to do in just a minute. But do not do that. If you do that, you're going to get the wrong answer unless you get lucky. Sometimes, like 2 squared is 2 times 2, which we'll give you 4. Okay? But 3 squared is not 6, it's 9. The third common mistake that you all will make is you won't follow order of operations. Order of our operations is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or y'all call it PEMDAS. The P stands for parentheses. E stands for exponent. This thing right here is an exponent. There's no parentheses in our formula, but there is an exponent. So the first thing we have to do is our exponent. Then M is multiply, and then divide, and then add, and then subtract. These are the 3 common things that y'all like to do because it's quicker and easier, and y'all are all about being in first place for some reason. But we're all going to graduate the same day, so. And you're going to walk across the stage in alphabetical order.
What if you say
Huh?
What if you say that?
Right, then you're even, like, usually people who rush through things end up staying back a grade. Okay?
What? What'd you say? Oh my god. Brooklyn's making fun of me.
Okay.
She's recording.
Yeah, I could just tell your mom to go listen to this, and she can see how you are in class. Okay, those are the 3 common things. So be aware of those things. I'm telling you ahead of time. If you mess up, it's probably one of those 3 things, or you're trying to cram your multiplication into one little bitty spot, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so area equals pi r squared. The diameter, remember your diameter goes all the way through your circle, and we don't want to use diameter with area because our formula says that we have to use the radius. Your radius goes from the center to one outside edge. Those are just 2 quick little reminders. And then right here where you can see exponent practice. Okay? 4 to the second power.
16.
Or 4 squared. The way we write that out long ways, because this is a shortened version,
4.
is 4 times 4. 4 to the second power is written out as 4 times 4. How many times do you see 4 written out right here? Twice. You have 4 by itself 2 times. 1, 2. What does 4 times 4 equal? 16.
So wait, never mind.
Okay. What about, go ahead and write down 7. 7 to the second power.
That's 7 times 7 is 49.
Okay, that would be 7 times 7, and that would equal 49. What about 6.2 to the second power?
So multiply.
Right, you would do 6.2 times 6.2. Okay, 2 times 2 gives us 4. 2 times
Oh wait, no,
6
I wrote
is
down the
12. Then we have to add a 0, then we get 12. Carry our 1, 36, 37. So we get 4, 4, 8, 3. 38. And we got those 2 decimals to move it our 2 places. Okay?
38.44.
So you get 38.44. So we have to make sure we're using the radius. We have to make sure that we're solving our exponents first and correctly. We have to make sure that we're following order of operations. And then we have to make sure that we label our work. Okay? We're going to go down and we'll do our practice problems. Those of you who turned in yesterday's assignment, I already wrote down the grades, and the grades were really good. So if you were able to do yesterday's, you're able to do today's. If I give you any formula, you've already proven to me that you know how to use formulas. You just have to make sure that you use them, okay, and use the right ones. But today we're finding area of the circle. So what's the formula to find the area of a circle?
Area equals pi r squared.
Area equals pi r squared.
So whenever you're multiplying like 3.14 times 4, wait.
Hold on one second. What part of the circle do we know? That's our radius. So we know that the radius is equal to 2. So what's our substitution line going to look like?
A equals 3.14 times 2 to the second power.
Times 2 to the second power. Okay. Now we have a place to show our work. This is really not enough space unless you have really, really small, neat handwriting. I don't. And a lot of you don't. Okay? So, a lot of the students last period were making mistakes with multiplying because everything was crammed in one place. Okay? So here we have 2 to the second power, so that's the same as having 2 times 2, which gives us 4. So we have 3.14, because we have to multiply pi by the radius squared, and we have to do radius squared first because of exponents and order of operations, times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. We carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4. This 1 is 5. 4 times 3 gives us 12.
Okay,
We have a decimal right here. How many digits behind our decimal?
2.
2. So we'll remove that decimal 2 spaces. So our answer is going to be area, or A, equals 12.56 feet squared.
Okay.
Because we just calculated and found the area, and area is measured in square units. Since we had feet, then we're going to have feet squared at the end. You have to label your answers like this. Okay? All right, number 2, the second one. Am I going too fast? Okay. Second one, what part of the circle do we know? We know the radius is 5 centimeters. Which formula are we going to write?
A equals pi r squared.
A equals pi r squared. Substitution line.
A equals 3.14 times 5.
A equals 3.14 times 5 to the second power. What is 5 to the second power equal?
25.
Not 5 times 2, it's 5 times 5. And 5 times 5 gives you 25. So we have 3.14 times 25. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5, 6, 7, 15. Add our 0, we get 8, 2, 6. Add those together. 0, we get 7, and 8 is what? 15? 7, 8. 6 plus 1 is 7. We've got one decimal there. 2 digits behind it. And 8 to 5. So area equals 78 and 500 centimeters squared. Thumbs up if you're doing okay, like you're understanding. Okay. Well, you can try. Do the next one on your own, see if you can get it, but watch out.
Oh, it's diameter.
Yes. Do we have to put the formula every time? Yes. You don't, you're going to get it wrong. Yeah, be careful on this one. What part of the circle do we have? We have the diameter.
I just divided by 2.
Right, so we have to do the diameter by 2, divided by 2, because we need radius, because our formula says R, and R stands for radius. And in vocabulary it said your radius is just half your diameter. So your radius is equal to 20. Let me give y'all just a second. Try and work that out, and then I'll put it up here and you can see how you did. What did y'all get when you squared your radius?
125. Oh, we didn't do that.
What did you get when you squared your radius?
40.
40? If I add these together, I get 40. Okay, so we have 400 times 3.14. We get 0, 0, 15, 0, 0, 4, add 2 zeros, now I get 2 more zeros, multiplying, 4 is 12, 0, 0, 6, 5, 2, 1. We have a decimal here with how many places behind it?
Oh,
2, so I'll move it over 2 places. Area equals 1,256. Do we have to put .00?
No.
You don't have to. You can, it's not wrong. Okay, but you don't have to. Inches what? Squared. What did you forget to do?
Do the square.
You didn't square it at all, or did you multiply by 3.14 first?
I just did 3.14.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
I got the other
You get it? Okay, next one. What part of the circle do we have? Diameter. How do I find the radius if I'm given the diameter? We're going to divide the diameter by 2. What's 20 divided by 2? 10. So my radius is equal to 10. What's the formula that I need to use? Okay, area equals pi r squared. Substitution, area equals 3.14 times 10 squared. What is 10 times 10? 100. So I have 3.14 times 100. Here we are multiplying by 100. When we're multiplying by 100, we multiply so things get bigger. When things get bigger, they move to the right on the number line. So we have 2 zeros, so we can take this decimal and we can move it over 2 places, and that gives us our answer. Or you can multiply it out the old-fashioned way, and you're still going to get 314. So area equals 314 inches squared to the second power. Okay, inches squared or inches to the second power. Okay, what are the 3 things that I told you you will do and make common mistakes? What's the first one? Somebody tell me. Diameter. If you're given diameter, you have to divide it by 2 to get the radius. You have to have radius because the formula says that you need radius. Okay, Camden, what's the second thing?
R squared do not multiply by 2.
Right, when you're squaring a number, you do not multiply it by 2. You multiply that number by itself. Okay, so 4 squared will be 4 times 4. 5 squared would be 5 times 5. What's the third thing? Tristan?
The order of operations.
Order of operations. There's no parentheses in our formula, but we do have exponents. We have to do exponents first and then multiply by 3.14. Okay? Make sure you get these in your journals. I know most of you are already getting them in your journals. There's tape in your bucket. Okay, and I'm going to be bringing you your assignment.